You forgot the first rule of remakes, Jill. Don't fuck with the original.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Don't F with the Original!
With Nicholas, I'm the video game correspondent for Idiomatic.
And I am Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomatic and film critic. And today, we are going to talk about a classic among classics.
Indeed.
A movie that not only spawned a remake, but also a sequel to a remake. We're talking about G.I. Joe the movie!
Yes.
And I am talking, of course, about the 1987 animated feature straight-to-video from Hasbro and Marvel.
Of course, you know, the best one.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Alright, so a little bit of context, folks. G.I. Joe the movie was actually meant as the finale to the G.I. Joe series before they entered their new phase, sort of like Transformers did, where they were the Transformers on Earth, then they had their movie, and then there was the Transformers in space.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe the movie was supposed to follow the first two seasons of G.I. Joe and the Cobra story, and then start with a new villain sort of hierarchy where Destro would go on his own for the third season and whatever.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, let's clear the deck of the old toys and introduce new toys so that we have a new line to sell, essentially, is what it was.
Yeah, that's why they made those shows, so perfectly understandable.
And it was supposed to be released in theaters. But then Transformers the movie did so poorly that they went like, well, then video might be good enough.
That's weird. You'd think Transformers would make gangbusters, because it was also a great movie.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, though. I think, 1986 is when the Transformers one came out.
Yeah.
And I suspect that's when the public policy groups started coming out about the violence in the media and whatnot. And Transformers and G.I. Joe are, let's face it, some of the most violent cartoons we've had in our generation. Certainly. Yeah. And I think that might have played against it, where parents were like, well, I'll let them watch that crap on TV, but I'm not going out.
Yeah, I don't want to be seen with my kids, bringing them to a violent movie, because people are going to judge me.
Yeah.
As opposed to when I'm home, they can watch it and, we'll hide that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm guessing that's where it came from. And maybe it was a wise decision then not to put G.I. Joe, a cartoon about war,
yeah,
in there. Although they might have gotten the patriotic crowd in there, so
probably.
Who knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what the story is of G.I. Joe the movie?
Well, we learned that Serpentor, the Emperor of Cobra, actually is a creation of an organization called Cobra La, who sent Cobra Commander to destroy the world so that the humans would be destroyed and they would reign supreme. But since Cobra Commander failed, they created Serpentor, and the whole thing is about Cobra La trying to again follow that goal of destroying the humans, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the idea. Small details. For those of you who didn't follow the show, they didn't so much create Serpentor, because Serpentor was in the show already, so much as this ridiculous retcon where they sort of implanted the idea in the creator of Serpentor.
Yeah, that's how they put it.
Yeah, it's just like, what? And their particularity is that they're sort of a culture that evolved with genetic science instead of mechanical science.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. On the good guys' side, you've got Duke's half-brother, played by Don Johnson, of all people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Being a rebel jerk, as these things tend to go, who's irresponsible and that Duke is tired to cover for, so he sends him to the slaughterhouse to be rehabilitated, which the slaughterhouse is this sort of G.I. Joe boot camp for the soldiers that are sort of hard to deal with. Yeah,
why would they be in G.I. Joe, though, if they're hard to deal with, is the main question. Why just fire them and get better recruits?
I know, that never really made sense to me. The only one that made sense to me is the one that defected from Cobra, because he could be useful.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anyway, so that's the story in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's great.
I think I love every bit of it, except maybe the bit where the ninja girl puts a blindfold, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
What's kind of cool is the Cobra Law villains, even though they're a huge retcon from the series,
Yeah.
are spectacularly good villains.
Yeah, they're interesting. They have, their cool powers. Just continuing the tradition of the show where, the good guys and the villains each have their personality and their, their agendas. They also have the same thing, and they also understand that other people have their agendas. Like, at one point, Serpentor is captured. They didn't have to go free them. And so they asked Zartan and the Dreadnoughts, you need to go free them. And why would we do that? And they showed him like a giant gem. And I was like, yeah, sure, we'll go free him. They understand that, as well. You can see the motivations are kept in the movie.
Absolutely, and then this is speaking of the different motivations. This is the storyline that essentially has Cobra Commander's duplicitous nature sort of pay off in a really interesting way, where to get rid of Cobra Commander because they know that guy's it's gonna double cross them one way or another. They turn him into a snake, and of course Cobra Commander does the only thing that he has left to do, which is side with the Joes, which is totally in character.
Yep. He just wants to be the leader of Cobra. That's why he was like always plotting against Serpentor, and now that he can't do it, I'm going to make sure that their plan fails so that, at least he gets some measure of revenge, I guess.
Exactly. So the bad guys are as interesting as in the cartoon show. For those of you who don't know it, that's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
They're always fighting against each other, plotting against each other, not in a stupid way, not in a, oh, I'm the better one, or any of that. It's just they're a coalition of unscrupulous people that find common goals.
Yeah, exactly. They're not all for destruction of the world. Destro's just there because he's a weapons dealer, and that's his only thing. He's the supplier.
And what's good about the movie for me, though, was that the good guys were interesting. Lieutenant Falcon, played by Don Johnson again.
Yeah,
he's a jerk. But he's an interesting jerk. He's sort of like... He's played as a jerk. The movie, recognizes that he's a jerk, and then he spends the rest of the movie kicking him in the groin for being a jerk.
Yeah, and he realizes it, and he's trying to make himself better in the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, and you take a certain pleasure out of seeing the jerk getting kicked in the groin for the second act, and that's how you play a jerk character. Sort of like if you're gonna have a jerk hero. Yes, the first half hour you have to show him being a jerk, but the second half hour you have to see him pay for being a jerk, not other people pay for him being a jerk.
Yes.
Himself pay for being a jerk.
That's true.
And they play that in a way that most romantic comedies fail.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And the Slaughterhouse is awesome.
Yeah. The Joes I like the least, though, were the other new ones. They had like a bunch of new recruits there. I thought they were kind of a little lame, They were kind of one-dimensional.
Okay, you had the Vietnamese tunnel rat, which is actually his name. He likes to crawl into small spaces.
He basically likes to take like the smart way around, you know. There's the basketball player who's just, basically a commentator, He's commentating his own plays. Was kind of lame there.
Who doesn't have a toy, so he's sort of a token black character.
Oh, that's scary. They didn't even make a toy out of him.
Yeah. So, there's a toy and then they make a cartoon out of him, in fairness.
Okay.
So, it feels like the writers went like, we got everything except a black guy. We're going to come off a bit racist. Let's make up a black guy.
Okay.
Which is equally racist if you think about it. But, because it's okay. There are black Joes. It just happens to be in that generation of 6 people. You didn't think of putting a black guy. Don't stress over it. But whatever.
Exactly. There's no women-men equality, but, they're not too worried about that.
Yeah, plus you got 2 Asians, so it's not like it's white power or anything.
Yeah.
But the second agent is Jinx. She's a girl who's a martial artist, ninja type girl, who's really unlucky all the time.
Yeah, no, she causes bad luck to other people.
Oh, sorry.
And she's very good when she's blindfolded, apparently.
Yeah, she's my least favorite character. I was like, stop whining about your causing bad luck. Immediately, it pays off nicely because at the end she wins by sheer luck after blindfolding herself, which is actually kind of hilarious. Who else is in there?
There's a guy that hates technology, apparently, so he basically has to do everything manually. Like, during the exercise, he's supposed to shoot a missile at Cobra tank, but he just rips the missile off of the tank and throws it himself.
Oh yeah, the guy with the Miami Vice shirt. That's right.
Yeah.
There's a dude with a dog.
I don't remember that guy.
Yeah, there's a dude with a dog. He annoys Beachhead at the beginning of the
Everybody
movie.
annoys Beachhead, so it's all good.
That's the running joke. But it's just like he has a dog, and Beachhead's like, "What are you doing with a dog? Like, do the exercise." And then the dog does everything for the guy. It's like he's just like, the hell. But they're colorful characters, but they're clearly side characters. Like they're just sort of there to be colorful and provide a reason why Falcon sort of shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm guessing if they had really gone on with the series later on and added these characters, they would have been developed more. But right now they're just this is their one cool trait, and that's what they're going to be doing in the movie.
Yeah,
and of course at the end they all do their one thing that they're supposed to be good at, and surprise, it works.
Yeah, exactly. Not much on the older characters. Like, there's a lot of Duke.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, they're just there to be kind of captured by Cobra Law so that the new guys can rescue them.
Yeah, pretty much. Back in the day when I was a kid, it was like, oh, this is going to be the final G.I. Joe story, big saga. And sort of like, all of your favorites are just like, I'm going to be eaten by a plant now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because they have genetic weapons, and most of them means, like, seeds that grow into monsters. Like, that's usually how Cobra La attacks.
Yeah.
They say Cobra La 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 La. Like, I'm not making this up. That's what they say. Cobra La 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 La. Then they throw a seed, and then the plant eats people.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's just very, very lame.
But I actually liked it when I was a kid. I was like, oh, that's so creative.
Yeah, actually, I take that back. It was kind of cool to see them like fighting with weapons against those plants and saying, "Yeah, this is not doing anything.
Yeah,
we're failing." So actually, something a different approach to being the Joes. Yeah. So actually, take that back. It's actually quite interesting.
Well, visually, because that cartoon, a lot of it is visuals. Visually, it was more interesting than seeing red lights and blue lights shooting at each other. It was sort of it made the threat of Cobra Law feel more threatening, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Because it was different. Because I hadn't seen it before.
Exactly. You knew if you saw those lasers that Cobra's going to lose because they can't aim, they can't do anything right. So those lasers not that scary. But new threat. You're completely right.
The voice talent in it. Let's talk about the voice talent for a second, because that makes me laugh. So I mentioned Don Johnson.
Yeah.
You got Burgess Meredith as Globulus.
Yeah.
It's like Burgess Meredith.
Yeah.
Rocky's trainer.
He has a great voice.
Like, it's like one big name after the other. Like, not nearly as overt as Transformers the movie, where it's like, what?
Yeah.
You got Mr. Citizen Kane in your movie? But
had Leonard Nimoy in that one too as well.
But
yeah. I don't know how maybe their kids are fans of the show and they, come on, Daddy, they need a voice, do it or something.
Well, that's how Raul Julia ended up in the Street Fighter movie, so I'm not surprised that would happen.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe because people didn't really care about voice testing as much as this, so it's a way to get them to have a paycheck without people knowing that they did it.
Well, because they want the big names because people will know that they did it.
Oh, I guess.
It's something to shove on the poster, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But when you think about G.I. Joe and the voices, you mostly think like Cobra Commander, whose voice actor was, I forget his name, is phenomenal.
Well, that's the thing, you forgot his name.
Yeah, good
and that's
point.
the problem.
Yeah. But just him and Destro, there's like spectacular voices, very memorable. Zartan as well, but that's mostly probably done with the
I think that's computerized effects, yeah.
But yeah, I guess all the bad guys have cool voices. The good guys are just normal.
Yeah, well, I've always had a fondness for Duke's all-American voice. Again, I don't know the voice actor's name.
Yeah.
But, like, there's something in his all-American way of saying things that are all-American that is sort of very endearing to me.
Yes, that's true.
He played Cyclops later in the pilot for the X-Men cartoon.
Yeah.
Called Pride of the X-Men. And it's hilarious, because at one point you have Wolverine, who's for some reason Australian in that version. He was like, "Oh, we go and talk about it all day, or are we gonna do it?" And then you have Cyclops, played by the voice of Duke, going like, "We're gonna do it." And I'm like, "Whee!"
Oh my god.
It's so awesome.
That is not how I would see Cyclops. Whatever.
Well, speaking of Duke, a little spoiler alert. Serpentor kills Duke.
Yeah.
Around the second act.
Yeah.
It's really sad. Everybody's crying. There's even cartoon tears around there.
Yeah. Oh no, they say he's going to the hospital. He's been like kind of stabbed in the heart there, but he's still going to the hospital.
He's dead.
He's not a vampire. He can survive that.
He got a snake through the heart. If he were a vampire, he would have survived because the snake's not made out of wood.
Oh, he said snake, not steak, right? But yeah, I've seen people in movies survive worse, I guess.
You know what happened though, right? Because he does survive. For those of you who don't know, he does survive. Spoiler alert! Who cares? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's 20 years old now.
Yeah, come on. And it's like I
25.
wonder if Duke is gonna live or not. I'm sure it's not really a question that compels you to watch G.I. Joe or not.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to die. And then people reacted so negatively to Transformers the movie where Optimus Prime dies that they went like, oh crap, we better not kill another guy like that.
Really?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Wow.
So that's why at the end of G.I. Joe the movie, when everything's said and done, you see the G.I. Joes walking off the hill from afar, and you see a voice out of nowhere. You don't even know where it comes from. It was like, hey, by the way, Duke is alright. And everyone goes like, yo, Joe! It's like, what?
Couldn't even pay the animators to show him like getting out of the hospital or something. You know, with this, what was he? He was a Scarlet, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just couldn't even do that. It's like no. Hey, Duke's all right. Yay!
Out of nowhere, it's just like, hey, we won the war. It's okay. Oh, by the way, Duke's all right. All right. Like,
Spectacular.
it's great. That makes me laugh. But it's all this to say is like just how much of this movie's success was hindered by the failure of Transformers the movie.
I know. And you would think people would want to go and watch a 2-hour commercial in the theaters.
Having said that, like I bought the 2-hour commercial on DVD and I still watch it regularly.
Oh, I watched that thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, I've never had a bad time watching it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though. You know what my favorite part of that movie is?
Go ahead.
It's the intro montage where, you know, because like every season had its own like G.I. Joe is there to fight for freedom wherever there's trouble, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they have the little montage where the G.I. Joe fight Cobra and win at the end. You know, like the first one takes place on the ground and the second one takes place more with near an electrical plant and the third one on a airship of some kind.
Yeah.
And the fourth one at the Cobra base. But the one in the movie, they're doing it on the Statue of the Liberty because...
Why not?
Yeah, let's go all out. And every time I watch that thing, it's like I rewind it. I want to watch this again. It's fun.
Not watching the movie with you then. I want to get on with the story.
It's like every time. This is a mini story. It's a short film.
Yeah.
I have affection for this, but anyway, that's G.I. Joe, the movie, the cartoon. All right, okay, let's move on to something else, because obviously very few of you probably saw this. I think you should hunt it down. Like, I think you should Netflix it or rent it on DVD. Well, I'm not convinced your DVD store has that available.
Yeah.
And if you're just a cartoon fan, like, go ahead and like take a chance, buy it. It's probably not very expensive.
If you're a fan of the original series, at least for nostalgia, you're gonna like this.
Yeah, absolutely, and it holds up. Like, in honesty, it holds up.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a bit younger and the G.I. Joe you're familiar with is G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, to which the sequel Retaliation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Rise of Cobra a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, Rise of Cobra follows the story of Duke and Scarlet, who Duke lost his best friend.
Yeah.
And his sister.
Yeah.
And anyway, Cobra shows up years later, and they have a new device, which is totally in keeping with the cartoons. They have a new device.
Of course, yeah.
And that device has nanobots that pretty much eat metal, I think?
It basically destroys metal.
Okay, so there you go. Eats metals. There's also personality-altering nanobots at some point.
Yeah.
So it's like Cobra Commander loves the nanobots, is essentially what it is.
It's pretty much what it is.
And essentially it's Cobra's first strike at the world.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about this movie. Like, there's some parts of it that I really like, and there's some parts of it that I really hate it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the part that, again, like the series, they focused a lot on the villains, even more than the heroes, and they gave villains their personality, and you could see that they're not really happy working with each other, but they do it because, evil.
Yeah, they all hate each other, which is totally in keeping with the cartoon, and totally what kids love about the cartoon, you know? So, and they kept that, and I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, so you focus on the villains as much as the good guys. They have the cool good guys there, like Snake Eyes. Scarlet was, fan favorite. She's kind of weak in this movie, but whatever, she's there.
Well, they have Duke, Scarlet, and Ripcord as the three main characters.
Yeah.
Duke is played by Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Scarlett's played by Rachel Nichols, which is like, she's usually a good actress, but like she is a robot in this thing.
Yes, she was happy she got her paycheck.
Yeah. It feels a little bit like a performance one phones in, or maybe she was really just uncomfortable in that super wonder bra they gave her, because like all you can see is her breasts. It's really weird.
Also, honestly, her character has nothing to do in the movie besides being, our third Wayans. Which Wayne is it again? Marlon Wayans?
I think it is. It's Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, so that's pretty much her role, to be, his love interest. I'm not even sure it's love. I mean, I think it's more lust interest, but not love, but,
Admittedly, Rachel Nichols is pretty hot.
Yeah. I enjoyed the movie, but it's just because I cut it after a certain point, and it's like, to me, it's like, okay, the movie ends here. Okay, there are certain loose ends that are, not taken care of, but like, because the ending is so horrible for me.
What do you not like about the third act of G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra?
Well, first of all, the third act is basically the finale, where they're basically launching the nanoprobe to destroy 3 cities. Snake Eyes, like, super cool, destroys one immediately, so it's only 2 cities they destroy. But then it becomes like a war thing where, they're attacking the Cobra base with a bunch of characters we've never seen before that we don't care. And it just becomes like lame action shock, because basically the main characters are doing almost nothing. They're basically, one of them is flying a jet, the other one is teaching him how to speak Gaelic. And one of them is chasing another guy. It's like a submarine scene, like CGI submarine scene crap. It's very, very boring. The only acceptable part is like the Snake Eyes Storm Shadow duel, and I can see martial arts fight anywhere. It was nothing that special about it.
Yeah, I didn't mind the third act at all. The big problem with me with this movie in general is I don't care about the G.I. Joes. Like, we were just looking at the poster today, and I noticed that the bad guys are on top. It's because the movie knows, like, these are the ones you want to know about. Like,
exactly.
Duke, Scarlet, and Ripcord are super boring, and they try to liven it up by giving them, like, super suits at one point, and it's just so lame.
Oh, yeah, the super suits. The clown suits, you mean?
It's so boring. It's so lame. Yeah. But I was fine with the fighting, because action movies need it. And, I mean, like, what's kind of cool about it is that it's sort of treated in a self-deprecating way. Like, this is clearly a movie that's going, I just have fun with it, dude. Yeah. And I was willing to have fun with it, so I was like, this is dumb, but it's not the end of the world. It's pretty fun. Honestly, Bai Yun as Storm Shadow is super cool.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Like, a lot of the movie is Bai Yun and Sienna Miller, who plays the Baroness, together causing mayhem across the globe, and those scenes are fantastic.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
I don't know why people said that Sienna Miller was horrible in that role. The only thing she didn't have was the German accent for Baroness, but I was fine with that. She was perfectly fine in the role, and I really enjoyed her performance.
Yeah, no, she was delighting and her evil, and and the thing is, like, no, she doesn't have the German accent, but in the movie, she's not a German character, so it wouldn't have made sense anyway.
Exactly.
But yeah, and Bai Yun Lee is just so charismatic. He's awesome. Like, there's part of me going like, you are going to turn him into a good guy eventually in the series, right? Because like, he's so awesome. Like,
yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, there's Snake Eyes in the movie. Who cares?
No, he's cool too, but he doesn't say much.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I like Snake Eyes, but like, he's an actor stuck in a rubber suit, like, because they went rubber with Snake Eyes for some reason or another.
Yeah.
It's like, who cares?
Exactly.
All right, so spoilers then.
Yeah.
Let's spoil G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra. If you haven't seen it, quickly, would you recommend it?
Yes, but you need to stop it, sort of halfway. When it starts to look kind of being bad, just stop the movie.
I'd say you can probably live without it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
So I'm not going to recommend it, but having said that, if you come across it on TV or whatever, there are worse ways of spending 2 hours. But I got lost with all the nanobots. Because at one point, Baroness is sort of, I'm a bad guy, but I'm a bad guy because I got nanobots in me. And they're like, what?
Yeah, that also was something. Baroness is, you have a Baroness in your movie, make her evil. Don't make her, like, mind controlled.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's the character that I got to know and love is sort of like, I'm not a real character.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, I know. The evil character with the nanobots was so much cooler anyway, so much more interesting than the non-nanobot character that you're kind of hoping that the nanobots are going to kick back in again.
Well, I kept expecting it's like she's just saying that. In reality, she truly is evil and she's gonna screw Duke over again, and that I thought would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But nope, none of that.
No.
The whole thing about who Cobra Commander really is sort of really boring as well.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Like, he has a big origin story that's actually tied to Duke.
Yes, you're right.
And it's sort of like, it doesn't really add anything.
Yeah.
I preferred it when he was an ambassador of Cobra Law.
Yeah, I know. You don't need if you're going to explain him like this, I'm linked to you somehow. You're like, why bother? Really, it's so cliche. It's been done so often that the bad guy and the good guy are like linked, and oh man, I'm conflicted in killing you now because I know you. You're like, that's lame.
Especially since at that stage in his career, Channing Tatum as Duke doesn't really have the charisma to be the hero of G.I. Joe. He just comes off as one more soldier in the organization, and a particularly boring one at that.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, aha, Cobra Commander, I'm really the best friend of a piece of wood. It's like, okay.
Ouch.
If you have any questions, comments, you want to share with us how you feel about G.I. Joe or Rise of Cobra or G.I. Joe the movie, because apparently Rise of Cobra was not a movie. I'm not sure. This is confusing.
Yeah. That wasn't its name, is basically what it comes to.
Write us at mail@idiomanic.com or post a comment at idiomanic.com. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. And we will see you next time.
See you next time.